start with the leak and then come on to the wider investigation. Am I right in thinking this about the leak? This isn't just a case of a New York Times correspondent speaking to his security sources. The security sources, probably the FBI, I would guess, didn't just guide his hand. They passed all these pictures and data to him. Am I right to find that remarkable?
You are absolutely right, Andrew, and it is deeply shocking. It comes just hours after Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, had voiced her irritation at the fact that the name of the bomber, which the police wanted kept secret until they were ready for it to be released, that was revealed to NBC News. That was leaked out of US intelligence. She said this should never happen again, and guess what? It did happen again, and in a far worse way. This leak is damaging for many reasons. First of all, it's deeply disrespectful to the families of the victims. These are pictures of the device that killed their loved ones. They shouldn't have to see this, certainly not at seeing it splashed across a newspaper in the media like this. Secondly, there is the operational aspect of it. It's telling the terrorists, the very people, this network, who are being hunted right now across the country, but particularly Manchester, it's telling them how much is known. It's giving them clues about, what has survived from that blast. By the way, that's an initiator, that thing that was held in his hand, slightly different from a detonator. And then also, it's damaging to the whole US-UK intelligence sharing arrangement, which is part of the Five Eyes arrangement, where the US, UK, Australia, New Zealand and Canada share information. Under that arrangement, the country that provides the information owns it, in inverted commas, meaning that nobody else can actually share it with anybody else unless they go back to the source country and say, would you mind if we share this? And if somebody said, do you mind if we splash this right across the New York Times? Britain's very unlikely to have said yes. So my understanding is that the source of this is it's come via liaison officers, because the way it works is that the US and UK have people embedded in each other's countries, and the information is shared through there. But somebody in one of the 16 US intelligence agencies, possibly Homeland Security, has shared it with the media, and that's what Theresa May is going to be taking issue with Donald Trump about shortly.
Now, I understand, Frank, that the British are obviously, rightly, outraged by what has happened, but they're trying to limit the damage. I'm right in thinking that they're not passing on more information about this particular investigation, but the wider intelligence sharing between the US and the UK, that is continuing.
That is continuing, exactly. This ban only applies to information or intelligence, sensitive intelligence, that has been gathered by Greater Manchester Police on the ground at the scene. It does not apply to other intelligence-led information that MI5 or MI6 or GCHQ may gather. That part of the relationship remains intact. But, of course, it's going to raise questions in Whitehall about, can we trust the Americans? This has come just days after Donald Trump was accused of telling the Russians more than he should have done about a source inside ISIS in Syria, which would have told them where an agent, possibly from Jordan or Israel, was hidden. So it's very undermining this of the whole intelligence sharing relationship. Ultimately, though, US intelligence is many, many times bigger and better funded than any other countries in the world, even Russia and China. So, that's why people in the intelligence community in Whitehall and in Cheltenham will be scrambling to kind of ring fence their relationship and say, look, this only applies to the GMP police-sourced information, not to the wider relationship.
Frank, let me come on now to the investigation itself. A lot of activity in the Greater Manchester area as they try to, I assume, try and track down a cell or where the bomb-making capability and who was behind it was taking place, but also an increasing Libyan connection as well.
Yes, I mean, there was a slight false alarm a few minutes ago when EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, bomb disposal, basically rushed to what could have been an explosive device. It turned out just to be a suspect package that was not a bomb. The race is on. Let's not beat around the bush here. The race is on to try to find what they suspect are more devices. Who knows how many there are? Maybe one, maybe none, maybe several. But that's why we're still at critical, and why Theresa May in the last few minutes has said Britain will remain at terror threat critical, which means that another attack could be imminent at any minute. Doesn't mean to say it definitely will be, but it could be. They can't rule out that possibility because they are absolutely convinced that this bomber was not working alone. He probably didn't even build this device himself. Chemicals were acquired, probably in this country, and mixed together by somebody who knew what they were doing, using bomb-making skills that have been honed in the Middle East or possibly North Africa, of the same level of sophistication as the ones that were used at the Bataclan attack in Paris in November 2015. So that's why you're seeing these well-armed, well-protected teams going in with dogs, with laser beams, with C8 Demarco rifles, assault rifles, and going in expecting to find, to certain addresses, expecting to find quite possibly a suicidal bomber in there. And eventually, hopefully, they will find the device and the person who's done this.
Frank Gardner at Broadcasting House, thank you for joining us on the Daily Politics today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're calling time on Britain's membership of the European Union.